I was having your boy Rico from Street Scores, and how ironic, man. Our biggest splash signing is coming in to be a certified backup, but at the same time, we're going to talk about the potential of a real QB competition happening between him and Sam Howell, and also, he's certified the best backup quarterback in the NFL. I know a lot of people were afraid to let go of Taylor Heinicke because they felt like he was one of the best. I feel like, and we're going to take a look at a lot of the statistics, advanced statistics, PFF grades, Pro Football Focus, all of that stuff, and really look at why and how this man is the best backup quarterback in the league, especially out of this free agency pool of guys. So we have signed several teams, but most recently Browns quarterback Jacoby Brissett to a one-year deal. I'm pretty sure it's fairly cheap, but not extremely cheap, because again, you can definitely argue he's the best backup quarterback in the NFL, and I think this is smart for a lot of reasons. Of course, for reasons I've already explained, I was kind of leaning towards more so a quarterback that if Sam Howell is terrible, it gets hurt. This guy is bad enough to where we can be in the Caleb Williams or Drake May sweepstakes, but this guy, you ain't gotta worry at all. Sam Howell gets hurt or is terrible, this guy is good enough to take you to the playoffs, unlike a Taylor Heinicke or a Carson Wentz. And I also want to compare Jacoby Brissett to Taylor Heinicke and Carson Wentz in this video as well. But before we dive into all of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get notification immediately. And every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one, make sure you pull up to every Sunday Commanders call-in show live stream where you call in, you ask whatever question you may have, say whatever opinions you have. Stay tuned for everything draft, everything free agency. I'm coming out with more mock drafts before the draft gets here. Anything that happens with the Commanders, I'm reporting it and giving y'all all of my information and opinions on it possible. Stay tuned and let's get it. All right, so man, the irony is crazy because you could definitely say Jacoby Brissett is the best quarterback that the Commanders have signed, and he's the only one that we're bringing in to be a certified backup for sure. Like, that is the objective of this. I think the deal, when we come out and officially hear the numbers on how much he's getting for this 1 year, will also add to that as well. It will back it up and basically solidify the fact that, yeah, he's coming in to be a backup and not a potential starter. They seem very high on Sam Howell from everything they've said. He's QB1. Ron Rivera already said at the combine that no matter what, even if they draft a quarterback, they even hit him with the scenario, if you somehow end up drafting Anthony Richardson in the first round because he falls to you at 16th overall, would you still want a veteran quarterback? And Ron Rivera said, yes. I don't care how many young quarterbacks we have. We need a veteran quarterback that can come in and win games. I'm pretty sure for his point of view, he's on the hot seat, new owner coming in. This may be his final season as a Commanders head coach. If everything goes wrong, he's definitely coaching for his career right now. So he probably feels like, man, I need the best quarterback I can throw out there if Sam Howell doesn't work out. So at the very least, we make the playoffs. I can show the new owner that, hey, man, all I need is this and that, and I can take this team to the playoffs. You may want to keep me as a head coach. So I don't blame him. But of course, I'm more so on the side of, I would have preferred to bring in like a Drew Lock. And then if Sam Howell is terrible, it doesn't work out, injured, whatever, we're just that much closer to having a higher draft pick so we can get Caleb Williams or Drake May, potentially the next elite quarterbacks in the NFL. But it is what it is. Jacoby Brissett wise, just going back to my original point, it's really interesting that, I mean, other than Taylor Heinicke, I guess, if you're including Ryan Fitzpatrick and Carson Wentz, this guy's the best quarterback out of those three, and those other two we brought in to definitely be the starters, and this guy we're bringing in to pretty much definitely be the backup. Unless Sam Howell is terrible in training camp, which I doubt happens, he's going to be the starter for the Commanders this season. I mean, Ron Rivera already said it earlier in the offseason before we hired an offensive coordinator. In offensive coordinator interviews, and we had like 9 of them, they literally would ask the offensive coordinator candidate, how do you plan on developing Sam Howell and working an offense around him for him to win now? Forget the fact that he's a 5th round pick. He could potentially be a franchise quarterback. So what are your plans with Sam Howell? So that shows that Ron Rivera and company really want to do everything that they can so that Sam Howell can work out. I mean, they brought in these offensive linemen for him. Now, granted, they fired his offensive lines coach, but hopefully we bring in a good replacement for that. Probably just promote somebody from within or bring over one of the Chiefs offensive line coordinators or whatever, but we'll see. But it just looks like everything that the Commanders are doing are trying to build a great team around Sam Howell, give him a great defense, a great O-line to protect him, defense to give them the ball back as much as possible. We already got the receivers, already got the running backs. Apparently they want to give them even more running back talent because we're interested in trading for Austin Eckler. So it looks like they're putting all of their eggs into the Sam Howell basket, but at the same time, it's not like a high risk, high reward type of thing, because you could do all of this for Sam Howell. If he doesn't work out, now you have the O-line, the weapons, and the defense to build around your next quarterback. So it's never really a bad idea to go all in on building around the quarterback, as long as you at least have a prospect, a guy that could potentially be the guy. I hate when we do all of that and we don't even have a guy in the building that could be a franchise quarterback. We just have a little placeholder. But now with us having Sam Howell, I'm all for going all in on O-line, defense, weapons, all of that type of stuff. And again, let's just get back to Jacoby Brissett, because that's who we're talking about. This is a really interesting situation, man. Again, I feel like we definitely signed the best quarterback available in free agency. That's a backup, the best backup one. Of course, like if you're talking about Aaron Rodgers and all of those guys out there that's at that level, that's different. But outside of that group, I mean, I like Jacoby Brissett more than I like Jimmy Garoppolo. And then we can debate back and forth about Jacoby Brissett and Derek Carr. So for the Raiders to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo as a potential starter, and we're bringing Jacoby Brissett in as a backup, I feel like we won. You can argue Jacoby Brissett has easily been better than Baker Mayfield, so this is fun. Just the official report, Brissett's deal is going to be 1 year. ESPN Deanna Rasuni of ESPN reports that the Commanders are expected to sign QB Jacoby Brissett to a 1-year contract. We still don't know the numbers. The Buccaneers and Eagles were mentioned as potential landing spots for Brissett, but it appears the Commanders proved to be the best option in the end. So that means he chose us. Other teams were interested, and he chose us for whatever reason. I guess because he's more likely to start here if Sam Howell ends up not working out. I mean, a 5th-round quarterback that's technically a redshirt freshman, redshirt rookie going into this season. He's only started 1 game, only thrown 19 passes total, only completed 11 passes at the NFL level. So Sam Howell's technically a rookie, and Jacoby Brissett is probably looking like, well, the Buccaneers, who knows with Tom Brady, even though it looks like he retired, he may come back out of nowhere. They already got Baker Mayfield, and then the Eagles have Jalen Hurts. So he probably looks at it as my best opportunity to potentially start at the NFL level again is to go to the Commanders or something like that, at least out of those 3 teams mentioned. I don't know if there were other teams there. And again, I feel like one of the benefits to bringing in a Jacoby Brissett is, first of all, he is good. So if you want to win now, again, I'm afraid of the perpetual average of winning 7 to 9 games a season. That's the worst case scenario for me at the NFL level. But if you want to win now, if everything you care about right now is making the playoffs this season, Jacoby Brissett was the best option out there. But I still feel like Sam Howell is the franchise quarterback, and one of the biggest benefits to having a Jacoby Brissett is the fact that he already knows his role. He's coming to the Commanders and knows he's the clipboard holder. He knows he's here to develop Sam Howell and help him, and if anything goes wrong, step into play. But he knows coming in, just based off of his history, that he's coming here to be a backup. You don't have to worry about Sam Howell having to look over his shoulder. You don't have to worry about Jacoby Brissett being a locker room distraction, because he clearly wants to start, and even if he doesn't say it out loud, his body language shows it. You don't have to worry about none of that. So it's really a win-win on all fronts as far as signing a guy like this. Brissett, 30 years old, is a former 3rd-round pick of the Patriots back in 2016. The Patriots traded Brissett to the Colts coming out of the preseason in 2017 for wide receiver Philip Dorsett. Brissett was in the final year of his 4-year, $3.41 million contract when he agreed to a 2-year deal worth $30 million that included $20 million guaranteed at signing with the Colts back in 2019. After a year with the Dolphins, the Browns signed Brissett to a contract last year, and in 2022, Brissett appeared in 16 games for the Browns, completed 64% of his passes for 2,608 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. I'll take a 2-to-1 interception ratio any day, based on the quarterbacks we've had the past few years. And John Keim even tweeted it. Strong insider with the Commanders, only reports on what he knows and not what he thinks. He said that he was their top guy on their board after Heinicke, which is interesting because if we're talking about who's better, Jacoby Brissett is better than Taylor Heinicke. Love Taylor Heinicke, thank you for everything, but Jacoby Brissett is objectively better, in my strong opinion. But I can understand why they would prefer Taylor Heinicke over Jacoby Brissett, because he's already used to the building, he's used to the players, he's thrown past passes to Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel before. He knows at least what kind of offense maybe Eric Bieniemy will want to run, because there's probably going to be a smooth transition from Scott Turner to Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy may not immediately come in and completely change the offense, completely flip it over 100%. Maybe he does, but either way, Taylor Heinicke, with his familiarity with the offense, with at least the players on the offense, some of the coaches, especially head coach Ron Rivera, chemistry with the players, all of that type of stuff, I can see why they may prefer him over Jacoby Brissett. But if we're just talking about two guys that have never played for the Commanders before, Jacoby Brissett would easily be better. But either way, Taylor Heinicke signed with the Falcons, and the Commanders wanted this guy the most after Taylor Heinicke went to the Falcons, and they got him. So that also makes me happy to know that even whether I like Jacoby Brissett or not, it doesn't matter. If the Commanders really liked him and then they got him, they went through with it, they did everything they could to do it, then I'm happy about that. Whether I like the player or not, as long as the Commanders are all in on the guy, I have no choice but to get behind them and at least hope things work out. But man, let's get to some stats, man, because Jacoby Brissett is kind of different. I don't think people know, but he had the 8th highest QBR in the NFL last year. It's Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tua, Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, then Jacoby Brissett. After that, it's Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Marcus Mariota somehow, Derek Carr, Trevor Lawrence, Jimmy Garoppolo, Justin Fields, Tom Brady, and it just keeps going and going and going. Aaron Rodgers was 26th, Russell Wilson was 27th, golly, and then of course Carson Wentz 30th. Baker Mayfield 31st. Again, Jacoby Brissett had the 8th highest QBR in the NFL last year. That's pretty crazy. In 7 NFL seasons, Jacoby Brissett has completed 61% of his passes with 48 touchdowns to 23 interceptions. He's got another 15 career rushing touchdowns with about 900 rushing yards and 48 career starts. I'll take it because he's pretty durable as well. And then Pro Football Focus grades wise, he has the 6th highest grade out of all quarterbacks. So he's ranked even higher Pro Football Focus grade wise than even QBR with an 82.6. He had a 4.5% big time throw percentage, which is tied for the 11th highest in the NFL. And he had a 3.1% turnover worthy play percentage, which is 20th best. Not great, but better than Taylor Heinicke and Carson Wentz. Because Jacoby Brissett's, specifically his passing grades over the past 2 seasons, 2022 a 75.2 and 2021 a 74. Now just take some time to think about how good or bad that is. Develop whatever opinion you have on the fact that at the very least he's had a 74 passing grade from Pro Football Focus the past 2 seasons. Now let's get to 2022. Carson Wentz had a 58.9. Taylor Heinicke had a 48.9. Huge difference. 2021, Taylor Heinicke had the exact same Carson Wentz ones from 2022 of 58.9 in 2021. So we're going from 59 if you round up to at the very least a 74 grade-wise, specifically passing grade from Pro Football Focus. It's a huge difference. This defense is elite. These receivers are elite, very underrated. I love our running backs. It looks like we're doing everything we can to fix his O-line and may even add more talent and help in the draft. All we need is a guy that could just do the bare minimum. Just at the very least be better than Taylor Heinicke and Carson Wentz. I don't feel like that's asking for much. Sam Howell already showed us he could do that in that Cowboys game, even though I need to see it consistently and long term, especially with the new offense being installed by Eric Bieniemy. And then you have Jacoby Brissett that's also proven that he can not only do it, period, but can do it for any team, any system, any scenario. So, man, shouts out to us getting Jacoby Brissett. That was a great idea in my opinion. He had a 91.5 rushing grade as a quarterback as well. That's huge because this offense is gonna want to involve using legs. I don't know why Scott Turner didn't do it with Taylor Heinicke. I don't know why we didn't do it enough even with Sam Howell in that season finale, but you saw it in the preseason. You saw it in that game against the Cowboys. Sam Howell is ready to use his legs and he can be very deadly with them. But don't forget the fact that we have Jacoby Brissett now as a backup, and Eric Bieniemy can pretty much run the same offense no matter who the quarterback is. These quarterbacks don't have entirely different styles, which is very beneficial. Both of these guys can use their legs, so it's not like if Sam Howell doesn't work out or gets hurt, Eric Bieniemy has to do a complete 180 with the playbook. You could pretty much run the exact same stuff you were going to run with Sam Howell with Jacoby Brissett, which is a very underrated part in finding a backup quarterback. When your starting quarterback and your backup quarterback have 2 completely different play styles, it really messes things things up when the starter gets hurt, and now you're trying to adjust the offense around that player. We've been doing that for years, even going back to Kirk Cousins and RG3, Taylor Heinicke and Carson Wentz. Every year it just seems like we have two quarterbacks that are completely different from each other. So that at the very least is one improvement there. Also, shouts out to Al Galdi for pointing this out. Just one significant veteran quarterback acquisition from the 2022 offseason worked out. It was Jacoby Brissett with the Browns. Remember, between Russell Wilson bouncing around, Deshaun Watson, all of these top quarterbacks, Matt Ryan going to the Colts, us getting Carson Wentz, the only one that technically worked was Jacoby Brissett. He was the only one that actually played at a high level. So that's really interesting that Jacoby Brissett was the only free agent quarterback that moved last offseason that ended up working out where he was. And the fact that the Browns signed him, traded for Deshaun Watson, and gave him all of that money, and Jacoby Brissett was the better quarterback. He did an admirable job while Deshaun Watson was suspended. Finished 8th in NFL in total QBR. Very good QB2 who can do well as a QB1 if you need him to. And of course, like I already spoke about, Jacoby Brissett is going to be a great QB advisor and just a veteran in the presence of a Sam Howell, helping them with everything. How to handle yourself in the QB room, film sessions on the sideline, how to diagnose certain plays, all of the little stuff that Sam Howell is missing. Jacoby Brissett can give him all of that, because Sam Howell is crazy talented. If we're talking arm, if we're talking legs, potential wise, he's got all of the tools to be a top 10 quarterback. Jacoby Brissett could come in and be that guy that takes him to that next level and fixes all of the nuances, all of the complicated things as far as reading the field, understanding defenses, understanding the offense, pre-snap, reading the defense, post-snap, reading the defense, knowing when to throw the ball, how to throw it, where to throw it, all of the little stuff that's pretty much impossible for me to even break down to you, because I'm not experienced enough to speak on it with enough knowledge to say it confidently. But all of that type of stuff, Jacoby Brissett can help Sam Howell here, and at the very least, he's also going to push Sam Howell to be better. Because if we brought in like a Drew Lock, maybe Sam Howell gets complacent because he's like, oh yeah, I got this starting QB spot wrapped up. But with Jacoby Brissett coming to town, Sam Howell knows he has to be on his A game to keep this quarterback one spot again. It's not to earn the quarterback spot or to necessarily win it, it's to keep it, because he is the starting quarterback even after we just signed Jacoby Brissett. Ron Rivera and company have pretty much made that clear in a way. They keep saying weird things that kind of contradict each other, but all you can take from it is the fact that Sam Howell is QB1 right now, and it's his job to lose. And Jacoby Brissett is going to push him to be the best him he can be for sure, and also help him at the same time. We've never heard any issues about Jacoby Brissett being a locker room distraction, causing QBs to look over their shoulder, making them nervous. He's like the perfect backup for developing your young, talented, raw quarterback, and also being a dependable guy that can step in and win you games if you need him to. Also, a really interesting connection between the two. Sam Howell went to UNC and Jacoby Brissett went to NC State. So two North Carolina college guys going to Virginia to play football. Interesting. And I agree with Cooley right here. Chris Cooley on Twitter. He said, I've said for a while that Brissett is the best backup QB in the league. So you could just say period. Not even just this free agency period between Taylor Heinicke and all of these guys. Period. Jacoby Brissett is the best backup quarterback in the NFL. He was the one quarterback I thought could potentially beat Howell for the starting job. However, I'm not sure there will be a real competition for QB1. I think he's going to push Sam Howell, but again, I also feel like Sam Howell is his job to lose. Jacoby Brissett is not coming in here to completely threaten Sam Howell's job. That would be one of the negatives, but I feel like Rivera and company know better. Sam Howell is going to be a starting quarterback week one unless he's just absolutely terrible this offseason. And again, like I said earlier, John Com said it as well. He's a guy who knows how to be in a backup role. He's not going to be a locker room distraction. He's not going to overstep his welcome. He knows exactly what he's here to do, and he's going to do it well, thank goodness. But this is his fourth team in 4 years, which is kind of a good thing backup quarterback wise. He started for 3 years and has been a backup for 4 years. Plenty of experience doing either one, whatever one you need for him to start, for him to be the backup. He's ready to step in and do both of those well. He's going to be a great mentor and backup for Sam Howell, and that's really all that matters. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please leave a like on this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. As always, man, I appreciate all the support, man. Shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose names you see scrolling on the screen right now. Let me know how you feel about this Jacoby Brissett signing. Is this better than Taylor Heinicke? Was this the best possible veteran quarterback that we could have gotten? Let me know all of that, and I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm out.